Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. It'd be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart. My peeps, my peoples. Peep Squad is in the building, baby. We're going to the top. We're going to bring others with us. So please become a part of Notification Squad. Peep Squad, hit that notification bell. Know each and every time I drop a video, I'm be the first one to comment and tell me what's on your mind, baby. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the interview with Wendy Williams and Kenya Moore. It was off the chain. What do you think about it? It seems like Wendy Williams, she had no holds barred. She wasn't holding anything back. And she was trying to keep it 100, too real and too, like, damn. She was in the thick of the mess when she was describing Kenya Moore's childhood and her mother. I was like, oh, Lord. That was a whole lot going on. But also, when Kenya Moore was also talking about that Mark Daly needs to go to counseling, they need to go to counseling together, and their relationship could work if they have counseling. And we have heard Kenya Moore say in the past that, her relationship needs counseling, and, he needs to go to counseling. And then also, when she was describing to Wendy Williams where her and Mark are at today, she said, well, they're taking care of their child, and also, they're civil to each other. So it makes me think that maybe there's some uncomfortability going on with Mark Daly and Kenya Moore. Maybe she's not trusting him. Maybe she feels like there's some safety issues because she didn't even stay with him in New York. You would think that he would want her to stay in New York, that their relationship is cool enough where they can stay in the same home together while she doesn't have to stay in a hotel, and Mark can have, quality time with his daughter Brooklyn too as well. But no, she stayed in a hotel. So I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about that situation. And Kenya Moore was not in a good relationship when it came to Matt Jordan. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this interview. I was like, OMG. Wendy Williams was like, I like you, Kenya. I like you. NeNe, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad, NeNe. NeNe she had to throw NeNe name up in it. And then Kenya Moore was like, who cares about her? So basically, Kenya Moore was like, I don't even know why you're bringing her up in my interview. Who cares about her? And NeNe Leakes had the same reaction when she interviewed with Wendy Williams on her show this year. And also, Wendy was like, that's my friend. That's my friend. And so, we all know that that's your friend. You ain't got to keep telling us. You don't got to reassure the audience or the viewers that NeNe Leakes is your friend. And so then Wendy Williams just starts off, well, your past with your mother not loving you. I was like, damn, she gonna start out the interview with your past, your mother not loving you? Like, that is kind of like harsh. Or, she could have worded it differently. She goes, you have no idea what your family's up to, what's going on with your family. This is Wendy Williams. She goes, I feel like you were tossed out like garbage. Like, you was tossed out like garbage. Like, damn, that's, it almost seemed like it was a tactic to break, Kenya's confidence, or if Kenya was going to, be the actress on the show, or she wasn't going to really, give Wendy Williams what she wanted, and she was going to stand up and stand tall, which Kenya Moore did. But it seems like Wendy just got in there and said that to her, and it might be true, or whatever the case is, because Kenya doesn't have a relationship with her mother, and her mother has abandoned her. But she could have used other words than garbage and tossed out like trash. She could say you was neglected, by your parent, and then ultimately you was abandoned and you had to fend for yourself, unfortunately for you. But it's just like the way that she came at Kenya Moore, like, it was almost like, it was kind of like an attack, but like a nice attack, but a harsh attack at the same time, to see where you're going to come off. If Kenya Moore is going to get mad, is she going to get sad? But whatever confidence or whatever she came into the interview with, it seems like Wendy Williams was trying to throw her off her game with that situation. Because why, Wendy Williams knows about Kenya Moore's mother and her family in that situation. It wasn't really something that needed to be brought up. What needed to be brought up was Mark Daly, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and NeNe Leakes, and whoever else that she need to talk about, her brand. It didn't have to do anything with her mother, because her mother's not on the show, And so I was just like, I was just like, damn, I kind of felt bad. I felt bad, like, damn, tossed out like garbage. It almost remind me, like, of the Empire episode when Lucius Lyon threw, Jamal in a trash can. I was like, what's going on with this? I have flashbacks. Like, what's good? And she goes, and Wendy Williams goes, I'm proud of you. You made something you made something out of your life. Like, damn, like, you went through all this heartache, these trials and tribulation, not having your mother, and then you made something out of yourself. Oh, you're so wonderful. Like, damn, but after you just said she was tossed off like trash, I was like, Wendy, you is no holds bar this season. I mean, you're coming full force. You ain't giving nobody a break. You ain't toting the lines. You ain't breaking the lines. You just straight crossing the lines. I was like, what's going on? And so Wendy Williams said that must hurt like hell. And like Wendy was acting all emotional about the situation, but she knew about this and she had seen Kenya Moore before. It's just like, it was just really awkward for her to talk about that particular, part of Kenya Moore's life, not the current part of her life, but she did get into that. But I was just like, why you have to start it off like that? And Wendy Williams was like, so what's going on with you and Mark? What's happening with your situation? And Kenya Moore's like, we are working on, taking care of our daughter, and we're also working on being civil to each other, so that's good. And then Wendy Williams like, you still wearing your ring? I was like, Wendy Williams, why are you pointing that out? Everybody's been pointing out that you was still wearing your ring when you was going through hell and back with Kevin Hunter, all in the media, all over the place. Kevin Hunter was like out here in these streets and you still had your ring on, and you're talking about you're gonna keep this ring on and this is your ring. And so I guess Wendy Williams wanted to point that out too as well. Like, she's still holding on, like I was still holding on to Kevin Hunter. It seems like that's what I took from the situation. And also, Kenya Moore was like, I'm not divorced. We have not filed for divorce yet, and and Wendy was like, but he doesn't want to go to counseling, and you do. And Kenya Moore was like, yes, he did not say he didn't want to go to counseling. But Wendy was like, yes, you did just say that he did not want to go to counseling, and she was like, well, it's not that he didn't want to go to counseling. It's just like when, you tell somebody what you want from them and what you want to do, and if it doesn't happen, so you ultimately believe that they don't want to go. So and Wendy Williams like, isn't that just what I said? You have a tactic or twist in words. I was like, damn, Wendy, you getting into it. She doesn't, because basically the way Wendy said it was like, he don't want to go to counseling and you do. Like, basically he wants to move on and you don't. And I was just like, damn, this is just way too much. But I was like, Kenya was like, but Kenya, she held her composure and she stayed ladylike and she stayed with a smile on her face. And if she was shook, and you couldn't tell. And so I was just like, this is just way too much. I was like, ooh, Lord, this is just like, because it's something real personal too. And then on top of that, Mark Daly, he's watching and he's going to have his grief if she doesn't say the right thing, or she doesn't say the right thing. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a situation. But Kenya Moore said that she wants to go to counseling. They never been to counseling, but she wants to go one day, and hopefully that Mark Daly comes, or he wants to go to counseling too as well. Wendy was like, that's what I just said, didn't it? I was like, Wendy, come on. And Wendy Williams was like, well, apparently he does not want to go to counseling, and that's what I said. I was like, Wendy. And so Kenya said, maybe he might change his mind. Wendy also asked Kenya, did her and Mark stay together the night, stay together the night of the birthday party or whatever. And Kenya Moore was like, no, we didn't stay together the night of the birthday party, whatever. And she was like, well, that should tell you something. That should tell you that he really don't want you. I was like, damn. She was like, that's indicative that he doesn't want you. You guys didn't stay together that night. I was like, she said, that's indicative that he doesn't want you. Basically telling Kenya Moore he don't want you. He don't want to go to counseling. He didn't stay with you the night of the birthday party. Like, he's done. He's through with it. Like, and you still got on your ring, baby girl. I was like, this is what it seemed like, Wendy Williams was coming from. But Kenya Moore said, he was staring at me. He was looking at me like, like I was, he was just staring at me. He was looking at me. He was licking his lips. He was attracted to me and everything. I was like, damn, you guys are married and got a baby. And you're talking about he's over here in the other part of the room where you're throwing a birthday party and he's just staring at you. It just really doesn't sound like there's really a relationship or there's any bonding going on between Mark and Kenya, basically, like, he's just staring over there, like, no, come over here and get your wife. Come over here and get your daughter. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do this. Like, we're going to work this out. And it doesn't seem like anyone stepping up to the plate to say, I actually want to work this out. We just got Kenya Moore saying that she wants to go to counseling, and that's good. But it's just like, what's going on? And she was like, well, he kissed me at the end of the party. And Wendy Williams said, no tongue. I was like, Wendy, why you got to say no tongue? Why you got to go there? And Wendy was like, no tongue. And Kenya Moore was like, no tongue. And Kenya Moore was like, I was, leaving something for the marriage, keeping him wanting more. And so, and that's when Wendy Williams was like, well, NeNe Leakes said that you and Mark Daly ain't married. So what's going on with that situation? Kenya Moore said, I know what NeNe says. She needs to worry about her own marriage. She needs to worry about her own shit, basically. And then also Kenya Moore was like, I got married and I got receipts. I have receipts. I got married in St. Lucia, and that's what it is. And it's a legal binding wedding. And that's what my attorneys and my lawyers done told me. And that's when Wendy Williams was like, well, we can look it up. We got people that can look it up. We can get the receipts for you. We can find your marriage certificate, really. But Wendy Williams was just like, we can look this up. We can find out what's going on with the situation. And then, Kenya Moore was like, well, if NeNe becomes an attorney or she familiar herself with law or whatever, then she can talk to me. But until then, no, she cannot talk to me about law. She can't talk to me about anything. Wendy was like, why don't you like her? And Kenya Moore was like, basically, we had our little hump. And, I had a high-risk pregnancy. NeNe never called me. She never checked on me. She never checked on my child. When she learned that I was not going to be appearing on the next season, she didn't call me, ask how I was doing. Was I okay? Was I this? Was I that? Maybe NeNe didn't feel like she could do that. Maybe she didn't feel like you guys were friends. And maybe she just wanted to mind her business because she didn't want to seem like maybe she was snooping. But Kenya Moore was basically saying she never looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she never called me. She never checked on me. And then the last time I seen her, which was at Cynthia Bailey's party, she called me a monster and she called my baby a buffalo. So it is what it is. And then Wendy was like, what about this spit thing? And did NeNe try to spit on you? And Kenya Moore said, yes, she did try to spit on me. And Wendy said, how does one try to spit on you? And hawking and spitting, Wendy replied. And Kenya Moore said, yes, she tried to spit on me, like she hawk spit up. And Wendy was like, really? And Kenya Moore was like, that's your friend, that's your girl. I was like, And then Wendy jumped in, was like, so you coming after NeNe's paycheck? You want her money? You want to be the star? You want to be the top bill on the show because NeNe Leakes is the top bill on the show? You want to take her spot? You want to take her money? Then Kenya Moore was like, well, the top bill on the show and the top paid person on the show is none other than Candace Burris. She's the top paid. She's the HBIC. So if I want to come after anybody's bag, I would be coming after her bag. But we also got to incinerate, or we also got to also insinuate that, or let everybody else know that the reason why NeNe's not the top bill for this season is because she signed on for 3 more seasons. So with her new contract, she signed up for 3 more seasons, so she got lower money this season. That's what the story is on the street. So you guys tell me what you think about that situation. I was like, okay. And then you got none other than Kenya Moore giving Candy Burris some props and like she got it going on. And so then Wendy Williams was like, so where do your babies sleep? Does she sleep next to you in the bed? Does she sleep, in a cradle next to you? Does she sleep here? Does she sleep there? And she probably she should be sleeping next to you because Mark Daly ain't sleeping next to you. When she said Mark Daly's not sleeping next to you, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? I was like, that was shade or beyond shade. She was like, Mark Daly's not sleeping next to you, so it makes sense for your daughter to sleep next to you. I was like, this is just really like hardcore. But nice and nasty at the same damn time. And so Kenya Moore responded, well, she used to sleep in the middle of us when Mark Daly was around. So I was just like, Wendy, you hit below the belt, baby. You was going below the belt. I was just like, what's going on? And then Wendy Williams brought up again Kenya Moore's mother, and her just abandoning her and not being there for her and the whole 9 yards. I was just like, damn, why you keep talking about this girl mother? And so, Kenya Moore said, I look like my mother. I've been on my own for a long time. I haven't talked to my mother. My mother hasn't sent any bottles, any diapers, any wipes, anything, no card, no nothing, to her granddaughter. And so she was like, I'm my mother's only child. I have a brother and a sister on my daddy's side. Me and my daddy get along fine, but my daddy don't talk to my mama. So it is what it is. I was just like, I was like, oh Lord have mercy. And then they talked about NeNe Leakes, and they talked about if NeNe Leakes got suspended or not. And basically no one confirmed if NeNe got suspended or not. Wendy Williams was like, well, I talked to the people over there at Bravo and I know what they told me, but what did they tell you? And Kenya Moore was like, I don't know. But Bravo has a way of reprimanding people too as well. The network has a way of getting at people when they are actually acting like lunatics and acting inappropriately. There are some consequences over there at Bravo. So you guys tell me what you think. And at the end of the interview, Kenya Moore receives a gift from Wendy Williams. I was like, Kenya Moore's never going to wear this gift. We ain't never going to see this on Kenya. I wonder if Kenya might give this gift away. Like, what's going on? This is not her style. Like, Wendy, after you done torture this lady on this interview, you going to give her these matching outfits for her and her daughter, which was cute and nice and sweet of you. Basically, they probably would never wear them. It would just be like a token, a memory of being on the Wendy Williams show. So you guys tell me what you think about the situation. But the way Ken is insinuating her relationship with Mark and not staying the night with him in New York, it's like they just freshly got married. Where is the love at? What's going on? Like, this is just like, it seems like she doesn't want to put herself next to him unless he actually gets help and gets counseling. So what do you guys think about that situation? Is something going on that we don't know about? Peace and out. Much love to all my peeps and my peoples.